Welcome to We Wine Whenever. Grab your glass and join 3 Jersey Shore housewives, Wendy, Kelly, and Lori, as they dive into everything from Bravo drama to life's everyday chaos. It's unfiltered, it's hilarious, and it's the real talk you've been waiting for, from relationship to pop culture. We drink wine whenever, and we hope you do too. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a 5-star review. Cheers! Hello, ladies.
Hello.
So we are in New Jersey, rainy, miserable Jersey.
Weather sucks.
Yes, it
I'm
is.
so over it. It's like supposed to be spring, goes from 40 degrees to 78 degrees, all in the same day.
Yeah, all in the same day.
Yeah.
I mean,
But-
honestly, you know how I feel. It can rain and thunder until April 19th, as long as April 20th is nice because I have a small house and I host Easter.
You host Easter.
However, it is getting a little tiresome.
Yeah.
The rain is getting a little tiresome.
I'm not minding the rain because I did a lot of planting last year. So I don't mind the rain because then I can see the fruits of my labor from
That's
last
true.
year, from my broken
Okay.
back, all my bulbs. That's how I try and look at it.
All right. That's a good way to look at it. And
Trying.
we need it. We actually do need the rain.
We do need it. We do need it. Nobody can say we'll have a drought this summer. That's for sure.
I just wish it was a drier rain. I mean, a warmer rain, not so cold.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Drier rain.
I want a drier rain. You know, like a dry shampoo. I want a dry.
That would be. That would really be something.
I meant warm.
Alrighty.
I haven't even started drinking.
Lord.
The sty is still alive. If anybody's following my journey with the
Yes.
sty.
Poor
I hate
sty.
this
The
guy.
ointment seemed to have angered it on Friday. It's calmed down though.
Yeah, it's just that initial thing is just so pissed off that no matter what you do, I just think, you know what I mean? When you first do something to it, it's just aggravated.
Yeah.
Eventually gets better. So, you know what? There's always something. There's always something going on.
Yeah, whatever. I had to throw out a bunch of makeup. Now I got to go buy new, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but
No,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not.
not
Not
bad.
for you.
it's not for me. It's not. I've been on Ulta's app
Okay, good.
all
Good.
weekend
There you go.
replenishing.
So we're going to be talking about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the reunion part 1. I'm so glad that we finally get to some part of the reunion. I wish we got a little bit more, but we start out with a little bit behind the scenes. Sutton goes over to Garcelle trailer and she brings her a gift, which that's just her way of, making
Yeah.
things nice, showing
Well,
up.
and also making sure she has an ally.
Yeah.
What was the gift? I don't even remember. That's how
We don't
invested I
know.
am. Okay.
We don't know. We don't know what it was. We don't know what it was. And Andy asks Kyle, like in her dressing room, what do you think of the viewers saying that there's a double standard about what others share of their lives and what they want you to share? And Kyle says, what does Garcelle share? And Sutton, okay, she has a sustainability line. So that's kind of even before they get on stage, the little behind the scenes in the dressing room.
And she said it with a shady undertone.
Yeah. Because, those are the 2 that are coming for her. So
Right.
those are the 2 that she mentioned, right? And then before they officially start talking, Garcelle says, TMZ caught me coming out of the airport and Kyle said, you guys are good. And Garcelle says, are we? So I guess they're not good.
Well, Kyle didn't even look at Garcelle when she walked in.
No, she didn't. She didn't. And then Andy asks, now it's official, Andy's like, ask Dorit how she's feeling. Oh, no, this is still, they're in the back, how she's feeling today. And she doesn't want to leave their feeling that she didn't say everything that she wanted to say. And that's when Andy says, make sure you don't leave anything on the table. Nothing on the table. And then they finally get out there and Kyle has her crystals next to her set up to bring her strength and clarity. I've never seen that before.
And calm. Those are big crystals, weren't they?
They were
I mean,
big
I have crystals too, but they're not that big.
Well,
I'm
she needed a
thinking
lot
she-
of strength.
Those are
Yeah.
Beverly Hills crystals,
That's what I
not
was gonna
Bricktown
say.
crystals.
Those are like super duper.
Those are 90210 crystals.
How about when they were in the back and I guess it was Kyle says, oh, what do we have to do to get out of today? When they were like shading on Sutton, fainting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, that is what happened, right?
It is.
Well, and then she also says, so she said this out on the floor when he asked her about her crystals. She said so she doesn't wind up in the hospital like Sutton did last year. She said that went out on the stage. And then Andy brings up that Erika song Drip was featured in the movie Anora, not Andorra,
Anora, yeah.
Anora.
There
I
was,
didn't see that movie.
There was a thing post on social media, and I meant to look it up, and I didn't take note of the girl's name. Whoever is the singer of that song, Drip, had a social media post, or somebody else made a social media post about Erika and the girl who sung the song, that Erika really could have given the girl a shout out and didn't.
Yeah, well, she also didn't give her dress designer a shout out.
No, she didn't do that.
She said
either.
some random designer who apparently designs for like Beyonce and other much bigger people than Erika
Which
Jane.
I thought was two slaps that were not really good, not showing Erika
Totally.
in her best light there.
Totally agree.
No, I totally agree too. That's not good. That's not a good look.
Nope.
Right?
Nope.
Garcelle is congratulated on the baby, so she's, has another grandbaby. And then Andy asked if LBP was in the running for a godmother. I thought that was a weird question.
Definitely a weird question, but he is still working for LVP.
Yes. Yep. He is still working there. And Garcelle said, well, she would like to be. So I don't know. Andy announces that it was very cool to see Dorit in the pages of British Vogue. I did not know that.
Me neither.
No, me neither.
Yeah. I mean, good for her.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good for her.
Even though she's not British.
That's okay.
She just talks like it.
You don't have to be British to be in
No,
British
I
Vogue.
know. I totally, I know.
Andy asks, like he does every reunion, if there's any intentions. And
this is something new he's doing.
Kyle said, feeling better than she did coming in. And I thought Garcelle's was very interesting to talk things through and work them out at the end of the day and actually get a cast photo. Okay, how interesting is that?
Meaning,
well, I guess because last year,
sounding like she was gonna possibly stay for the cast photo. Like, it didn't sound like,
well,
my mind's already made up right now. I'm not going to be here for that photo.
So I think it was because last year she left with Sutton, so they didn't get a group photo. And apparently the year before, Kyle left before they got the group photo.
Right. She left.
I don't know what was going on.
She left after the reunion, but she wasn't there because she was just done at that point.
I think that was Rinna's last year, wasn't it? And it was when Kathy was on the couch with Kyle going after Rinna.
Could be.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, it was a tough reunion for her. I mean, but she stayed for the whole reunion. She just didn't get the cast photo.
Didn't get the photo. Yeah.
Right. I'm just saying it didn't seem like, at least she wasn't making it seem like she already had her mind made up when she sat on that couch that she was done with the whole enchilada.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Rumors about that, like that she went into the reunion knowing that that was going to be it and that she was going to blow it up. I don't know.
Garcelle?
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows?
I don't know if it's true or not. I don't.
Phony baloney anyway.
Well, it would be surprising to me because she did at one point say, I guess her glam, like, here I thought they were all going to be coming after Sutton. I didn't realize they were going to be coming after me, right? When they took that first break and she was walking to her trailer.
Yeah, yeah.
So it would be surprising, but maybe.
The next thing he says, Andy says, Dorit of the past has left the building, and they talk about how the viewers really love seeing her smoking in the car.
Yeah, because we know these housewives smoke.
Right, right.
So this is reality. Just show it. I mean, I know it's not, you're not supposed to promote bad behavior, but people smoke.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
They're certainly drinking a lot, so what's the difference?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Then Dorit said, well, she has been a social smoker because he asked, have you been smoking for a while? And a stress smoker, which that would make sense, right?
Of course.
Andy also said that they got a lot of comments about the decisions not to tell the children about the separation. And he said, after Jagger asked you about the divorce, did you regret not telling them? And she said, no. I don't blame her. It's her decision. It's her decision.
Exactly. Like, listen, this is reality. I think that they need to share everything, but how they parent their kids, especially their kids at any ages, but especially those little ones, that's nobody's business.
No, nobody's business at all.
That's nobody's business.
I agree. I totally agree. Then I was surprised with this one. Andy asked Dorit if she's still in love with him, and she says, yes, he's my soul. He's my blood. He's my heart, but I need peace. I was like, whoa. That honestly, for me, was a little bit heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I get it. He's the father of her children, but it seems from what we can gather, basically from her and what we've seen, is that he really hasn't been there for her. You know,
Nah.
he hasn't.
If
Well,
he was
she
taking
certainly hasn't felt like it.
right. And if he was taking off for weeks at a time,
Months.
yeah. I mean, that's nuts with little kids like that. If your kids are adults and grown and out of the house and that's your job, okay, but it's hard to, or at least if you do have that kind of demand on you for your job when you're home, make the most of it when you're home. Didn't
Right.
seem like he did. I think he was out. I think PK enjoyed the limelight of being a house husband
No, I do too. I
and
do
Boy
too.
George's manager.
Speaking of which, did you happen to listen to the latest Bravo docket about PK?
No, but I saw that they did one. I'm going to try to listen to that.
Boy, we'll talk about that at the next reunion because I have to write down
Okay.
some notes. But boy, oh boy.
Okay, I'll definitely listen to it then.
Yeah. He's got a lot going on.
Really? Currently, now, presently,
Yes, and from
the
yes.
past.
Yes.
Okay, I'll definitely listen.
Then Andy said we asked PK if he wanted to appear and he declined, but he sent a statement. And then Andy reads his statement. I didn't write down his statement, but basically what he was saying is that he wants the record to be, cleared up that he is a good father.
Yeah, it was all about her saying he wasn't a good father.
That's really what he took offense to, I think. And didn't you get that out of that, Lori? Yeah. Dorit said he could have, Andy asked what her thoughts were about his statement, and her response was, well, he could have been here, which honestly I think was the perfect response. Why am I
Yeah.
going to respond to a statement? I'm not going to respond to that. I said what I had to say. If he wanted to come here and say that and have a conversation, then show up. Right?
Did you see the face that Sutton made when Andy asked Dorit if she thinks that PK thinks that her fame changed her? The face that Sutton made.
No, I didn't.
Just
see
at,
it.
I didn't
just
say
at
it.
the thought of him, talking about Dorit's fame. That's how I took it. Sutton was like rolled her eyes, like whatever.
What, that she's not famous or that she
like
has
Sutton,
changed?
she's been here longer than you, and she'll probably be here after you because
Yeah.
you're just not that interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she made a very snarky face, I thought.
Andy asked Kyle if she thinks fame changed Dorit. That was a loaded question. Kyle said, this season, I've seen a part of Dorit that I didn't know. She seemed angry and more aggressive.
Well, you're texting her husband,
happens.
and she's
Yeah.
separated from him and
Well, I
didn't
mean,
text her right away.
that all happened before she even knew that. She was angry and aggressive before she even knew that. Because they weren't speaking. They weren't speaking
Right.
from the year prior.
And then they start filming, and then she did know it when they started filming.
Yeah. Once they started filming,
Yeah.
Andy asked Dorit about calling PK a monster while speaking to Kyle. And Kyle, you said in your confessional that you've never seen that side of PK. So Dorit said, that really hurt me because you're supposed to know me better than him. So why would you see that side of him? All you know of him are the memes that, he sent you, which I can see where that would hurt her because obviously if her friend is saying that he's a monster, you only see him when he's out in public with her. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors. Right? You don't know what goes on behind closed doors. I mean, that would bother me too.
Right.
And then Kyle brings up, well, you said that he wasn't a good father and you called him an alcoholic. She said he was an alcoholic, which he did. And Kyle said, no, he never said that. He said he stopped drinking. She said he said publicly. He publicly said that. He did.
He did.
This is where I didn't like it because then Sutton chimes in.
Yeah.
Looked like you were throwing your husband under the bus and you said it over and over and over again. Okay, Sutton, this was not a spot for you to jump in. You had nothing to do with this conversation. And that's why Dorit goes back at you because you jump into something that you're not involved in. And then Dorit said, well, it was over a course of a week and I was telling different people, which actually I'm glad that she explained that because she did say it a lot and she was telling different people,
How about read it? Because I don't think we knew this. Kyle sent her text to Dorit after Erika mentioned that Dorit said to Kyle,
Nobody
that Dorit
texted me.
said to Erika, nobody has reached out to me. And then Kyle texted her.
I did know that because I remember her saying she had it all ready to go, but she didn't know if she should send it. Like
How do you not know if you should send it? Like
because they weren't speaking. They weren't on speaking
I know, but you've been
terms.
friends with her for so long. Like, I've done that. Like, I've, haven't spoken to somebody and then, you find something out and you're like, oh my God, like you reach out, you know?
And
Yeah.
wasn't part of the problem too is that before she texted Dorit, she had already texted PK. I
Yes.
think that's part of the problem too.
Sure.
And let's see.
Sutton, well, how about, PK must be drinking again.
Well, Andy asked how long PK has been sober, and Dorit said it's not a topic we discuss. And
Or it could have been that he told her, look, don't talk about my drinking on TV
my
at
sobriety.
all.
Right.
Don't talk about it at all. You know what I mean?
That's
So
true.
It was a little cagey. Like you could like Taffy push or pull that in a certain way.
You're right.
Because the wording.
Not only that, but because people think she's going on and on and on and saying he's an alcoholic over and over and over again. Maybe they did just come to that agreement. Like, I'm not going to speak on your sobriety anymore. I never thought of that. I just assumed it was he's drinking again and she's not.
Well, because then Andy flat out asks, is he drinking again? And Dorit said, I have no idea. He said it's something that he chooses not to discuss with me, meaning her. So, we don't know. But I didn't like that people are like, okay, well then that means he's drinking. No, that's not what that means.
Right.
But that was a shady piece of work on the part of production too. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Andy asked what she thinks the forensic accountants will find if they actually get divorced. I mean, that was a stupid question. Seriously.
Yeah, that was a stupid question.
Yeah, nothing, Andy. They have nothing.
Yeah, probably nothing.
They have your paycheck.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what they have.
Exactly.
They have their Bravo paycheck, basically.
Right.
And whatever Boy George is throwing to PK.
Right.
And that's when Sutton kind of jumps in too. Dorit says, you have a lot to say about my finances. And she's like, well, it's because I care. She's like, no, you don't care. And she's like, well, I care about women. She's like, is your name on the mortgage?
It was so funny because it's the same thing as on the boat. Like that same word, women. Like it's she's supposed to be applying that in this conversation to one woman, which is Dorit. But then she switches it around to mean, no, I mean all women. And then the other week, Erika said women when it was clear
she'd already named
that group of women.
Right. Yeah, but so she asks Sutton asked Dorit if her name is on the mortgage, and Sutton's like, do you actually think I'm going to sit here and answer your questions? Which I loved that response.
Me too. It's none of your business. It's none of your business. You don't care about her. You're throwing it in her face that your wallet's bigger than hers. So what is she going to talk to you about this for?
Yep. Andy did ask about the foreclosure, and she said that the house was under pre-foreclosure, which that's true. I mean, that happens. And the way she explained it about the, changing the rate and PK, stopped paying until they would get everything figured out. And then when they got everything figured out, he continued to pay.
And who knows?
Who knows?
I mean, listen, I don't think it was a matter of PK waiting for a call back.
Well, that's what she said.
Right. However, I will say this, though, because of what we do, I work for a law firm that does bankruptcy and loan modifications, and mortgage companies do drag their feet getting back to people about these things.
They do.
So it could be true, but I don't know. I tend to believe that this is not true in their case, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Listen, who knows?
Now, how about when the viewer wrote in and said, this season feels like Dorit came in hot, vying for her job? And he asked Kyle about that, and Kyle says, it did feel like that to her, and because it was like the Dorit she didn't know. And then Dorit says, yeah, but Kyle, you have relationships with production, and you knew I had my job, so then why did you? And Kyle was just like, well, that's what I said, and I stand by it. It was just weird. It's just weird.
That was weird. And just so you know, I think that scene was only on Peacock.
Yeah, because
Oh,
I have no idea what
really?
you're even talking
That
about.
scene was only
Really?
on that scene
Mhm.
was only
I
on
didn't see it.
Peacock. Yeah, because I
Okay.
watched I
I have
watched
to
it in the
start watching Peacock.
but you wouldn't have known that. I watched it in the DVR, and then just today when I was scrolling through social media, I saw that clip that
You
you
saw what I'm
just and
talking
it
about.
said yes, and it said was only seen on Peacock. I was like, "Oh." So
Yeah.
I'm glad that one of us watches Peacock. I mean, sometimes I do. It just depends. So that scene was only on Peacock. So if people are listening to us and they don't know what we're talking about, it's because that specific scene was only on Peacock.
Yeah. See,
There
I
you
like
go.
watching it on the DVR because you can fast forward through the commercials.
Me too.
Peacock has very limited commercials, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes
I
they
mean,
have
it's not
more
bad.
than others.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
hate that.
I know. I
whatever.
know.
That's what I got.
So
Yeah,
let's
no,
see.
I get it.
Let's see. Dorit said, as of a week ago, I've chosen not to have a relationship with PK. He sees the kids on Saturday night if he's in town. That doesn't sound like a lot of time with the kids.
That's not a lot, and it's only if he's in town.
Yeah. Erika asked if she's scared. She said, I'm not scared. I'm hurt. I'm shocked. I finally started to realize what I believe was going to be my future is not going to be. And, I think that's where she's at. I think she's being real.
Yeah. And again, we know people who are divorced that they don't necessarily miss that person, although it does seem like Dory does miss PK. They just miss their original family unit being together,
Right.
that sucks. That
It does.
sucks.
It does suck.
You don't have kids with somebody planning on not being with them.
And I mean, he has 3 older children. So, he's in a totally different space than she's in.
Yes.
This year we met Boz. He says people thought she should add one more credit to her resume. Dorit's spokesperson. I thought that was funny because she is very accomplished.
Sure is.
That's when Garcelle came in. Garcelle said, well, when Dorit and Bose are together, it's just the two of them. Bose says she watched the show beforehand, which I'm glad she admitted it to it because most of the time they're like, oh, no, I never saw it before.
And they're full of shit.
Right. Of course you're going to watch it.
Of course. Even if you weren't a fan before, you're going to watch it to see what these women are like.
You want to
One
know what
should
you're getting
certainly
into.
know.
with. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. She said, I thought this was also glad to hear it from her, that she thought that the show had been played up a bit, like that the emotions and everything, the drama was like exaggerated. But she's like, nope, that is not.
And I loved that she said she met with Garcelle prior to filming and said, what's the deal? And
Yes.
Garcelle said, nope, you have to figure
Find
that
out.
out on your
Right.
own. I thought that was awesome of Garcelle.
I did too.
Not like those Potomac girls, not like Cameron Huger,
Right?
having her
Yeah.
preemptive strike meeting with all the newbies. Yeah, I thought that was really great of Garcelle to do that.
I
It was
did too.
Smart of her. It was smart.
Very smart.
Yeah. Andy apologizes to Bose for losing her Malibu house. And again, another stupid question, what it meant to her. Well, she's like, it was 25 years of hard work to get that house and now it's gone. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
again,
what
what
it
is
is.
stupid? What a stupid. I hate when he asks these stupid questions.
I know. Well, somebody else wrote them for him, so you can't really be too hard on him. But he's
yeah,
reading them. Like, skip that one, Andy.
Right.
Yeah. She said moving. Then a viewer wanted to know about her fertility journey. And she's currently in the process of retrieving eggs. And she says it's frustrating to hear other people's opinions, about her hopes and dreams and desires. And I believe that. She's
Sure.
being open and vulnerable. And she wants another kid. And to hear people like judging her and, telling, I can only imagine what that's like. Then Garcelle talks about the only time that she had a problem with Dorit and Bose's relationship is when the two of them were just sitting there talking at the end of the table for an hour. I was
Who
like,
cares?
yeah, I don't really think that that's true.
No.
Right? I mean, who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
I mean, how long are you sitting there filming? I highly doubt they were only talking to each other for an hour. Even if it were a half hour or 45 minutes, who gives a shit? You're there for hours.
There's other people at the table.
Right.
Come on.
Exactly. And they were at opposite ends of the table.
Right.
They were
It's
literally at
happening.
opposite ends of the table.
Yeah, that was a reach.
Yeah, that was
That
And then
was a
Gar-
big reach.
Then Garcelle's like, well, everyone had a problem with her relationship with Sutton. So, why would I say anything about someone else's relationship?
But
That's
you
right, you
did.
should.
Right. Right. Exactly. So then Bo said, what rubbed me the wrong way about the conversation was that there was a belief that I was being manipulated by Kyle, and I did not think she was being manipulated. Like
By Dorit.
by by Dorit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Kyle said that she didn't think that she was being manipulated. I don't think I mean, listen, she's not someone you can manipulate.
Exactly.
And
There's
it's
no
an insult
manipulation
to
going on.
her to think that someone can just manipulate blind loyalty. You know, it's an insult to her.
Right. Like she said, if you think for 1 second that there's something that she can say to me that would influence my opinion of you, then
Right.
that means that you don't think very much of yourself. That was Boz speaking to Garcelle. And
Garcelle. Right.
I think that's certainly true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Garcelle is questioned about Kyle and Sutton's relationship and Sutton's loyalty to Kyle, because we know that that's Garcelle's biggest problem, is that she feels like Sutton is blindly loyal to Kyle and doesn't have Garcelle's back like Garcelle has Sutton's back. Then I didn't see this Entertainment Tonight thing. On Entertainment Tonight, Erika said, we want to see Sutton and Garcelle open up more about their real lives. And Garcelle said, well, what else would I show? And Erika's like, well, we want to know who you're dating. Andy said, well, what more do you want to see? And Erika said, well, I wish you were more interesting.
That was mean.
That was
nasty.
mean.
She said,
That was
yeah,
real
I
mean.
just wish
That
you were more
was mean.
interesting. That is nasty.
That was
Because
mean.
honestly, what did
It was
Erika
nasty.
have going on this season? Erika
Yeah.
didn't have anything going on this season
Uh-uh.
either. She fucking redecorated her house.
Some
Come
throw
on.
pillows. Come on.
Yeah.
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 She's
So
she was a little
Erika, nobody
nasty.
sees who you're dating either, by the way.
Mm-mm.
I
That
think
was
Erika
mean.
is dating anybody serious. I don't think,
But she's
she's having sex. I mean, she's open
exactly.
about that. That doesn't mean dating. Though
Okay, but show that. Show who you're having sex with. If you're asking Garcelle to, then you should too.
Well, I mean, I think a boy toy and a relationship are two different things.
But she said we know Garcelle sleeping, or however she worded it. She wasn't even making it like she was dating somebody. She was just asking who Garcelle was messing around with. So, then you show it too, Erika, and not your interior designer.
Yeah, she got a lot of shit online for that. Did you see all the people talking about spending all this money for a rental? Why don't you? She was getting a lot of grief for remodeling her rental. I guess it is a rental. I don't know if it is or it isn't. I really don't know.
Kind of feel like if it were, she wouldn't even be allowed to do all that. I mean, listen, I don't know many landlords. I know the crazy one who owns the house next door to me, and she wouldn't let you do a damn thing.
Well, a lot of times
in
too,
that house.
Wallpaper now it's like a
'Cause you could take it off.
Yeah, you can take it off. So there is that.
But she did the whole kitchen, didn't she? Oh, no,
No.
she didn't. She
No,
No,
didn't.
it's not
did
like she moved
wallpaper.
any walls or anything.
And even the cabana, like even
No,
that
it's
was
just
just
all-
paint and
Yeah.
yeah.
And furniture,
And furniture.
you know? It's all stuff that you can,
Yeah. So she's
I guess
she's
she plans
definitely
on staying there for a while.
Yeah.
she's definitely been a little nasty. Erika.
I didn't like that she said that to Garcelle.
No, I didn't like that either. And then let's see.
So it's interesting that Kyle keeps saying Morgan didn't choose this life. Morgan is a country singer, correct?
Yes,
Well,
she's
she
not
didn't say
some-
this life. She said she didn't choose to be on this show.
Oh, I have in quotes, didn't choose this life. So my question was, does she mean a life in the public eye? Because isn't she a country singer? Like, I didn't know who she was, but I don't really listen to country music. But if you're in that industry and you're a country music fan, wouldn't you have known who she was? Wouldn't she have been photographed? And you were on the show last season. So is it that you didn't choose this life, or did you not like the way things went last season and now you're choosing not to be a part of it?
Well, I definitely think that's it. I mean, she did choose to be a part of it last season when she agreed to come on the show. And
Right.
Kyle said she did that as a favor to her. And then when that became the whole storyline, whether or not Kyle and her were in a relationship, and if Kyle was a lesbian, she's like, I don't want to be known as the lesbian singer that's with Kyle Richards. I have my own identity. I'm a country singer. I don't want to be known as, because it's, I guess she didn't realize how big the Bravo
Housewives was,
platform
yeah.
and how opinionated the Bravo fans are, and
Right.
how they
Nasty.
come for every
Yeah.
aspect of your life. I mean, I totally understand that. I understand that she's like, okay, yeah, I'll be on the show with you, Kyle, with her, cute little Southern accent. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh shit, what did I do? I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this. And I think she has every right. It's not like she was getting paid.
She definitely has every right. She definitely has every right. But she had to know that there was gonna be some public attention by being on the show. Like, you
Again,
can't say I didn't
I
sign
don't,
up for this when you signed you physically
she,
sign a waiver
well,
signing up for this.
she did for one season, and then she didn't for the next season.
Right, but you have to know going on a show like this,
But you don't, though. I mean, what it's.
you're gonna get some look at the comments we get, and we're just talking about the show.
Lord, the nasty, nasty, nasty people
Yeah.
over a
I
fake,
mean,
fake ass TV show played by characters that everybody wants to believe that it's 100% their life, but it is not. It is a produced show, and people come so hard and nasty. It is unbelievable.
yeah.
I
I'll
don't
tell
know.
you what, listening to Crystal and Cynthia is so good because they say it, like, the producers are in your ear, like, "You should ask this." And
Right.
who else was I just Kristen Cavallari, because now she's talking about the hills and Laguna. Obviously, that started it all. But really the hills. Like, I think Laguna Beach was originally truly a reality show, but once they got to the hills, that was overly produced towards the end. So, you're right. You're
And
absolutely right.
I think Dorit is almost like the poster child for a post that I just saw the other day from Bethany Frankel. And Bethany was like, part of the point that she keeps trying to bring up is that the whole atmosphere of the Real Housewives is just, it's inbuilt toxicity. It's like, because you have to have the right wardrobe, you have to have enough money, like you have to be seen to have enough money. Like, and I'm sure for Dorit, because Andy asked her, oh, is your glam obsession part of the problem with PK? And she said, well, yeah, is a portion of it. But that whole, you understand what I'm trying to say? That whole mechanism
Yeah,
of Bravo and Housewives and trying to keep up with the
and
money
Beverly
and
Hills is it's
that's what I'm
just the
saying.
highest.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying. And that
the
can really,
standards are so high.
I think it can really mess up your life.
The expectations are super high, I should
Yeah,
They
like
say.
are.
just trying to keep up with everybody and, who knows how many times you mortgage this and mortgage, because you got to keep up with what's being shown. I'm not saying that's necessarily what happened, but I'm just saying
Well, I mean,
it certainly could
not
be.
to bring it up, it's all alleged, but look at Teresa and Louis. Like, that probably, if that's all true, what's going on with them, that's what they're doing. They're just
But I'm saying but that's part of that ugly machine that Bethany was talking
sure,
about.
sure.
It's the keeping up with the Joneses, but it's on purpose through Bravo, through the shows. And it just brings out really like a bad side to people.
No, it does. I
And
totally
then
agree.
you have Tamra, I was listening to her cover Southern Charm today with Trishelle, and they're like, you need a villain. You have to have a villain. It's like, but
No, you
you
don't.
really don't.
No,
You
you don't.
don't.
You don't have a
And
head.
of
You
course,
don't.
Tamra's like, you're welcome.
Right. I know. I think one of the things that really set Garcelle off is when Kyle said to Garcelle, I explained this to you off camera. And then Garcelle said, well, why did you say it off camera? And Kyle said, well, because you're my friend. And then Garcelle asked Sutton, what did you say after she walked away? And Sutton said, I think she wants to protect Morgan. And Garcelle, that's not what you said. You said that was a chess move.
So who's the real Bobby Fischer here?
Right.
LVP must have loved that.
Right. And then Kyle said, the thing is with both of you, the two of you together are mean girls.
I could not believe Kyle, of all people, said that. She's the ultimate mean girl. She does it to be funny, but she's a mean girl.
Yep. And then Garcelle said, how about the time when we were in Chuck E. Cheese and you and I laughed about it? And then you went on the after show and you said she's a fucking asshole. Kyle said you said that intentionally, on
Yeah.
camera
On camera.
about her being a lesbian.
Well, she did.
Yeah,
And
she
that's the
did.
thing,
She did.
Kyle. All of America just wants you to say either way. Either way. I mean, I understand now she's saying
I don't really care.
I don't
could care less.
either. Me
I could
neither.
care less.
I could
I
care
really
I
less.
could care
don't
less.
really care. It's just you can't expect to carry on a relationship with this woman, Morgan Wade. You're
And people
always
not
with
to be
her,
not to
and people to not question it. Let's just put it that way. You can't expect people to not question it. So
Right.
for Garcelle to bring it up on camera, okay, she didn't say anything so out of line.
But this is
Well-
the thing. This is the
Yeah.
thing. If Garcelle and Kyle had a conversation and Kyle said, "Look, I'm kind of in this thing. I'm kind of not in this thing. I don't really know where it's going. She's not comfortable being in the show. I just really don't want to talk about her anymore. I just don't want to, I don't know what I'm doing with it. I really don't want to talk about it. Can we not talk about it anymore on camera?" And then they go to Chuck E. Cheese and she steamrolls with that. Then I can see Kyle being like, kind of fucked up.
That is. And the whole thing, if you want to be a lesbian, then be a lesbian. Outing someone's sexuality is a big thing. It's just something that you shouldn't be doing. You just
That's
shouldn't be
true.
doing it. You just
That's
shouldn't be
very
doing
true.
it. It's not right. Like, if she wants to talk about it, she'll talk about it. But she made it perfectly clear on camera in the beginning of the season that she was not going to speak her name, wasn't even going to say her name because she didn't want to be talked about. She
Yeah,
said
and she
that in the beginning of the
obviously
season.
she obviously does not want to talk about it. So
Right.
I think that as much as you
But
are
at
on
the
a
same
reality
time,
TV show, you still should give people passes on certain things.
Yeah, you don't have to be invited into my bedroom just because I'm on a reality TV show. Seriously,
no, I
you
get
don't.
that. But at the same time, she's saying, I'm not talking about her. I'm not mentioning her name. She's
Right.
in the she's all over social media with her. They're
She's not
still being
posting her.
photographed together.
She's not posting her.
Kyle does post. She does post things with her. She's
Yeah,
not
but
the
she
only
can
one.
right, but she can still say, "I'm not gonna discuss it on the television show," and still have a relationship with her. It's not like she's gonna say, I'm not gonna discuss it on the show, and then I'm just gonna be, like, totally secretive with this relationship, whatever it is. Also, like, you can have both those things. You can say, "Look, I'm just not gonna talk about this on the show," and you could still do whatever the fuck you wanna do with the person.
Yeah.
That's just how I
I
look at it.
I agree too. I don't think that everything has to be in our face. I really could give a shit who she's dating. I think
Well,
that
yeah,
there's
me
other
too.
things going on in her life. Her, situation with Mo, her daughter's getting married. If she wants to, if she wants to talk about that, talk about that.
Which
There's other
daughter's
things.
getting married? Because Farrah's not anymore, right?
No, the other one, Alexia?
I think so.
Yeah,
One who,
Alexia.
yeah, okay.
Alexia.
Right. Right.
But then after that whole thing, then Kyle's telling Garcelle that you were mad at Sutton for not having her back, and that goes, and she goes, that's between me and Sutton. And Kyle said, no, it's between you and Sutton because she didn't have your back to go after me. And that's what
Which is
Garcelle
true.
was about. Garcelle was mad at Sutton for not having her back to go after Kyle. I agree. Like, that's not what it's all about. That's not what it's about. And that's how Garcelle felt attacked because she was being called out on what was happening. She brought it up on camera. She was putting it in Kyle's face. She's mad at Sutton for not having her back to go after Kyle when she knows that Sutton craves Kyle's attention and she's friends with Kyle.
Well,
I think the thing. Okay.
even with not being, even if you take the being friends with Kyle and the adoration and whatever out of the equation, it's still okay for Sutton to say she don't want to talk about it. I'm not gonna
Right.
I'm not gonna keep on about it.
Right. Right.
I think the reason Garcelle is getting so upset is because she and Sutton are talking about it off
Off
camera.
camera.
And
Right.
Sutton has a certain opinion about it off camera. But
camera.
when they're in front of Kyle,
Right.
She's
she
doing
flips.
something else.
Just like the chess,
Right.
Well,
Absolutely.
Sutton
I
said,
think
I
that's the problem.
respected Kyle's wishes and I didn't want to talk about Morgan on camera. I didn't want to talk about this. I respected her wishes. And that's where Garcelle couldn't handle that because like you said, she was saying other things off camera. And
So who are you being the better friend to then? You're being the better friend to Kyle.
you're being the better friend to Kyle. But as a friend to Kyle and a friend to Garcelle, you should have had the conversation with Garcelle off camera. Listen, I'm not going to throw Kyle under the bus, so don't
Right.
look to me to do it.
Right.
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 This is my opinion off camera, but I'm
Off
telling you this right
camera.
now. We are friends, and I'm not throwing Kyle under the bus. I respect her wishes. Don't come to me and expect me to have your back on this because I'm not going to.
But in the end, as an adult, shouldn't Garcelle have been like, okay, well, just because we talked about this off camera doesn't mean, you know what I mean? Like, there's stuff all the time in Housewives that I look at and I say, oh my God, why is this such a big fucking deal?
Well,
But
exactly.
it's a show, you know? It's a show at the end of the day.
Listen, I was sad to see that Garcelle left, announced that she was leaving before we even saw the reunion. But I understand why she's leaving because I feel like she's been there 5 years. What else is she going to do?
She came on with Denise having a long-standing friendship with Denise, and she really did ride
Mhm.
for Denise.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, the whole thing they did with Denise and Brandy, she never flinched Garcelle. She never once swayed
Right.
away from having Denise. So, I mean, thankfully for her, then she established a relationship with Sutton because other than that, she's not close with anybody.
She's not.
Why would she stay? And it's a
Yeah.
shame because I liked Garcelle. I really liked her a lot. I love seeing her family, but she's got nobody there.
Yeah, I think she's smart. I think now is the time for her to get out. I think she's
For sure.
absolutely on point. It's good. It hasn't gotten super, super low, super, super nasty. There's
Yep.
been no big, huge,
Right.
I mean, because then we get into the whole PK thing and her intimating that, or insinuating that PK set up the burglary, which she never really. Wait, did she say it though? They rolled the tape.
She did intimate it.
She
said
did.
that Dorit didn't have anything to do with it,
But somebody
she
did.
thinks somebody did.
Right. So she never said PK's name, but you knew who she was talking about.
Right.
And she
And
said,
that's very dangerous because that's insurance fraud. That's so, I
It's
mean,
not
look at
good.
the guy who paid the people to pretend to beat him up, right? Who's that guy? Isn't he in jail?
No, he's not.
He's not in jail.
but it's just
No.
not a good look. Like, where are you
You
going
don't
with it?
accuse someone you
No.
work with
No.
of
And if
doing that.
that's how you feel, go ahead and feel it. But don't say it.
Yeah.
No.
Don't say it.
Yeah.
No.
Because we're like,
What are you doing
you're
in
just
your
going to get them
workplace?
in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
it's not a cool workplace move. No.
Yeah.
No,
So when
it's
that
not.
came up, I think maybe she was like, all right,
Yeah, there was a lot in this episode that was against Garcelle, but honestly, it's all things that she caused and just people calling her out on it, It's not
Yeah,
like she was
and
innocent in this.
I don't think she liked what Erika said either. I thought you were more interesting because that's like the
I'm
kiss of
telling you,
death for a
she's
housewife.
nasty, this Erika lately. She's
Yeah.
been on a nasty streak, man.
And again, what is she? She doesn't really have anything going on either, so she should be real careful. Although, did you hear a rumor that she's leaving?
No, where's she going? She needs a paycheck.
I know, but
She's
I
not going
thought I
anywhere.
heard, not that, I mean, I thought I heard that she got fired, but I doubt they even did anything yet, contracts or anything.
Garcelle did double down on it when Andy asked Dorit how she felt about Garcelle saying that. And Dorit said, I don't understand how you could talk about something that was such a devastating part of my life. Garcelle's double down was, well, that was my feeling, and I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Garcelle said, I feel how I feel. I feel how I feel. And Dorit's like, well, but it's based on nothing. And that's the point, it's based on nothing because there's no facts or anything to substantiate what you said.
No, and I forget who was talking about it. I know who was talking about it, Tamara and Dolores was a cop. So Tamara's like, "Well, the whole thing with him leaving the cell phone." And Dolores was like, "Of course they're gonna leave the cell phone. If he brings the cell phone with him, you could track him." And
Right.
Tamara was like, "Oh, I never thought of that." And I never thought of that either.
Yeah.
But that was, like, the big thing in question. Like, she asked him to leave the cell phone, and he did. Like, what burglar would do that? Well, somebody who doesn't wanna get tracked down because they got your cell phone.
I
But
thought it
even
was
Andy
her
said that.
phone. I thought it was her phone that they left.
It was her
It
phone.
was her phone, but if they
He
had
Again,
it
you
left
on
can
it.
them.
track it. Yeah.
Right. But Andy said that. Andy said, "I think it's because they gave you the cell phone back and the alarm wasn't on." And Gar said, "Yeah, that's why." So Andy was like trying to protect Garcelle in this after he threw her under the bus. He's like trying to protect her. And then Erika said, "Andy," Dorit said, I'm gonna at least tell you how I feel about my husband. I feel you how my husband would have to have been a sociopath to not care about our children and to send people to our house." And I agree with her.
I
Like,
agree too.
like, come on. Her kids were there. But then Garcelle doubles down again and says, "Am I the only one that felt that way?"
What does
Like,
it matter?
does
Well,
she
even
expect
if
the people
it
on the couch to jump in and say, "Oh, yeah, I felt that way too"? Did she
Right,
really think that was gonna happen?
right, and what Lori said is like, it definitely doesn't matter, and just what you said, even if they did feel that way, are they actually gonna admit it now? Like, "Fuck
Right.
no, I'm not
Right.
admitting that."
Right.
No.
I'm sure everybody kinda had a question. Well, I'm sure Kyle didn't because Dorit went to her house that night and, that was a whole thing.
Right.
But even if there was the slightest ounce of doubt, you're not gonna say it now and look like a
No.
complete asshole.
No.
No. So that's definitely something she should have just never said in the first place. It was just not a good move.
No. I totally agree. Then they break for lunch, and Sutton says, "Everyone hates me." And I'm like, "What are you
She's
talking
so
about?"
annoying. What
Like,
was she talking
I
about?
have no idea.
Garcelle just took, like, was stepping over grenades for most of that reunion, and Sutton's crying that everybody hates her.
Yeah. I mean, Garcelle says, "I didn't expect to be the one that was gonna be in the hot seat." That's
Right.
what yeah. And then, Sutton goes into her room and asks, how she's feeling, and she's like, "Not great. I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't."
And Sutton made it all about her.
Yeah.
And that's really an art form when
Yeah,
somebody
like,
can do
Real
that.
why'd you
it
even ask her when you first walked in?
I
Because
know.
you thought was
You
all you wanted
don't
to do was
care.
pile on her
Yeah,
about your
yeah.
feelings.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Crazy.
And then we see Bose is talking to Dorit and saying the Garcelle situation that we're talking about is not anything casual. Like, you can't say something serious like that and not expect repercussions.
And you can't.
And you can't. I mean, those are serious things to say.
Yes.
And then we see next week we get to see Kathy and Jennifer come out. I'm excited for that.
Is
Yeah.
I think
Jennifer, like, eating chips or something while
at
she's
some
sitting there?
point she is, and
That would
I'm
be
here
me.
for it.
That
That would
would
be
be me.
Lori.
Yes, I'd be eating my
That
chip.
would be Lori. Like, she's like eating her popcorn as they're fighting, you know?
Yes, yes.
It's like she's
That's
watching the
great.
show. I am so here for that. I cannot wait for that.
Yeah, that's
Me
gonna
and
be good.
Jennifer reaching into our cleavage so we can get out our candy.
So
Eat it.
funny.
You're hard candy.
Yeah.
I had 2 other things to bring up real quick. One
Okay.
is, I don't know if you know this, but Candy Burris
Mhm.
has made Broadway history with her production of Othello, who apparently Denzel Washington and Jake Gyllenhaal are starring in.
Yeah, I
That's
told you
fucking
that.
amazing.
Yes.
That is amazing. 2.8 million in 7 shows.
Yes.
So
She's
that
gonna
was
get the
one thing.
EGOT.
God bless her, man. She's really doing it. And the other thing was I saw something and then I tried to look for more information and couldn't find it. So I don't know if Dolores said this on one of the podcasts, but supposedly Dolores said that Louis reached out to Frank or Teresa reached out to her to see if Louis could reach out to Frank about these liens, these tax liens, like they were looking for, which I love Frank Catania, but he is a disbarred attorney.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to him
I
for, like,
don't know if you
legal
wanna go to him
advice.
for advice right now. He
Nope.
used trust fund money that doesn't belong to the firm, it belongs to the clients to pay his employees. So you may not want to go to him for advice. But I read that where Dolores said it, that either Teresa I think that's what it was, Teresa reached out to her to see if Louis could reach out to Frank. But then I couldn't find anything else about it, so I really don't know if it's true or not.
And there was
I
a
did hear that too, but I don't know where I heard it either.
Yeah.
there was a TikTok by, Up and Adams saying Louis was on TikTok doing
Yeah, he's trying to get
trying
people
to do
he's
some
trying
kinda,
he
like, creator thing on TikTok. Yeah, I didn't look at it and see what it was, but
He
Yeah, that's what
wants to, like, say we wanted to, like, do a brand deal with somebody, he's gonna connect us with the brand,
I
right?
think
Am
that's
I
his
understanding
he's
that
gonna teach
correctly?
people how to sell in the TikTok shop on
yeah,
TikTok.
I think
Yeah.
that's
He's gonna
basically what he's
teach you
doing.
how to do he's not making any connections for you.
I don't know what the fuck he's doing, but
This
he's
sounds
trying to do
like
some
a
bullshit
real
is what he was trying to do.
exactly.
This is that's all. That's
Sounds like a
all.
very lucrative,
Yep,
honest
nope,
business.
nope.
Speaking of TikTok, ladies, by the way, I figured out today how to post a video and put the link in it on our TikTok to buy a We Wine Whenever sweatshirt. So it's up there now. You guys can follow the
Listen,
link
this
and
stuff takes
purchase
us a very, very long time to
it.
figure out. So
It does.
if we tell you that we have figured out some small thing that you younger people like, "Oh, duh,
Yes.
it's 5 minutes to figure out how to do that." There are technological advances. We
Yes.
just
Yes.
realize what it
Just
took
know
to
it's
get
been
there.
months in the making.
It's
Yes,
like us going to the moon. Let's just put it that
it's a
way.
lot.
By the way, the video that I posted of myself modeling the sweatshirt is horrible. I will make another video and swap it out, but I was just so excited to get this up and to get the link, and it actually worked. I was like,
Yeah.
Figured it out.
I'm like, you know what? It's our first step on the moon. We'll get better. I'll get better
One
at it.
There you go.
step at a time.
There you go.
That's
It's
amazing.
not
Thank you,
easy.
Wendy.
Yes.
That's great.
So yeah, that you can look forward to that. And we look forward to it too, because honestly, I'll be honest with you guys, we have not made one red cent. This is costing us money.
Oh, it's costing us money.
Yes. So
Not
we
only
would
have we not made it, we're spending it.
we're spending money. And we enjoy doing it. Well,
We
some
do
of us
enjoy
do.
doing it.
Yeah. But if you could support us at this point by purchasing a sweatshirt, that'd be great. Every
Yeah,
little bit
man.
helps. And by listening. We love our listeners. I mean,
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
commenting and
And
listening
commenting, yeah, because we
and
love
five
the
star
interaction.
and the 5-star reviews. We love that.
And we'd love to know if there's any other topics that you would like us to divulge into further besides
Yes.
Yeah.
housewives.
For sure.
Okay. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.